Hey there everyone, Dr. Beth Westy here, and tonight we're going to talk about breast tissue, specifically fibrocystic breast tissue and whether or not your hormones can play a big role in that discomfort that you may have throughout the month. Now, for those ladies that are new to some of my videos, I'm very transparent. I talk about a lot, all things women's health, all things. But I do have more info on my YouTube channel, which is just Dr. Beth Westy, so you can subscribe there to get more. But this is a question that I've gotten recently, so I wanted to address it and just reference, okay, yes, this is a normal thing. Most of the time when people talk about boobs, it's like in reference to something else, right? So boobs are breasts on females are a secondary sex characteristic. Yep. Purpose of, feeding babies right here, right? Yeah. I remember, this is a funny side story. So I have 3 kids, and I remember when I had the youngest and I was nursing her and the other ones were 2 and 4, and I was explaining to them like how I make the milk and feed the baby, da 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 da. And they're like, well, but how does the milk come out? And I was like, well, there's milk ducts, in the breast tissue that, this is how I talk to my kids all the time. Like, there are milk ducts in your breast tissue, da 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 da. And they were like, there's ducts in your boob, mama? Like ducts that quack? And I was like, no, ducts. Ducts. Wrong. Kids though, right? So every time they see like somebody nursing a baby, they're like, oh, quack, quack. There go the milk ducts, milk ducts, quack, quack. I'm like, so funny. Anyway, kids, I gotta tell you. So breast tissue is kind of amazing, right? Female bodies are really amazing. So dynamic and shifting and changing to make and house another human and then feed it. It's incredible. But when we talk about breast tissue and some of the issues that can happen with it, so fibrous breasts, fibrocystic breasts, right, because of the ducts and everything, and some women, and sometimes it's hereditary, sometimes it's not, sometimes this gets worse with stress or other illnesses, or a lot of times people don't know why, but you can have more dense breast tissue, right, just more dense, right? If you're doing the breast exam and you're like, oh, that seems like a nodule, right? If it's painful and sore, that's usually, fine. It's when you get a nodule that grows, right, that is an issue and it's not painful. But again, make sure you're getting yourself checked at your annual exams, everyone, and that you're doing the self-checks, all of the things. But it's very normal to have fibrous tissue, right? If you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like there's, fibrous tissue here. Now, here's some general info about fibrous tissue in your breasts. You can have one side that is more fibrous than the other. You can have one boob that is bigger than the other. That's actually really common. Like, your body is not completely symmetrical. Like, one foot is usually a little bit bigger than the other. One boob is a little bit bigger than the other. One boob can produce more milk than the other. Very normal, right? Just some of the wonderful things about our bodies. Always keeps us guessing. So it's very normal to have, oh my gosh, I feel like this one is more fibrous than the other one, or when my boobs get swollen, this one gets more swollen than that one, or this one's more sore than that one. Totally. That's absolutely a normal thing. But overall, you can have similar fibrous materials side to side, like, oh, I feel like my breasts are really fibrous on the bottom. That seems weird. Is that weird? Is that a normal thing? No, that's not a weird thing at all. But to feel like there's more fibrous on one side than the other, that can also be very normal. But again, just something to monitor for your own health. Typically though, when we talk about overall breast swelling and how that changes, right, throughout the month, is that your tissue will start to enlarge anywhere from days 15 through 28. And oftentimes it's the closer you get to your period starting, that your breast tissue can be more swollen, just enlarged a little bit, right? You can have tenderness, right? You can have tenderness right around ovulation. You can have tenderness right before or during your period. Also, I should put on here pregnancy, right? That's a thing too. But a big thing here, and especially for a lot of women that are struggling with hormonal imbalance right now from stress, I mean, there's just stress, right? I don't think that there's anybody in the world that's not impacted by stress, and there's some women more than others, for sure. And having that stress can impact your hormones. It can delay ovulation, creating a hormonal imbalance, which then can add to pain. It can add to swelling, right? You can be like, oh my God, my boobs are so sore this month. And I'm having another mood swing. My period's been heavier than normal. What the heck is going on? Yes, this is a very normal thing to have happen when your system is just under more stress. So these are the things that I've gotten questions about from women. Oh my gosh, my cycle's irregular now. I'm not kidding. 90% of the women that I work with, their cycles are off. They're just off. We're under stress. So it's one of those things. Buckle down, take care of yourself, right? I've done some videos recently more about this, and I'm going to have some more podcasts come out related to these topics, but be really understanding with your system at this time. This is a really tough point to go through, where if you're like, oh, what's wrong with me? Oh, this is bad. Da, da, da. Nope, this is just another signal. Hello, signal from your body. This isn't right. I don't like it. It's your boob talking. I don't like it. It's sore. I'm under a lot of stress. I don't know. Maybe your boob sounds like that. Maybe my boob sounds like that. I don't know. Yeah. But this is, these are the things to really look at. And these are the things that, when we're talking about hormonal imbalance, this is one of the main focuses in the 12-week challenge, right? So for those of you that don't know, I have a nutrition program that talks about nutrition that matches your cycle throughout the month. We go through seed cycling. We talk about what to eat during the estrogen phase. We talk about what to eat during the progesterone phase here to help your system flush through that excess hormone, get rid of that excess stress, and regulate your hormones and cycle as much as possible so that when you do encounter the stress, it doesn't throw everything out of whack, right? It's the difference between, if you're standing there against a really strong breeze, are you like fully braced and ready to, have that impact, right? Or like, have you ever been to the ocean and the waves are coming in, right? If there's small waves, you can stand there and withstand those waves. But if there's a big wave coming, you got to brace yourself. And that's what eating for your hormones and your cycle does. That's what working with your body and really dealing with a lot of the stress in your system does. You're bracing yourself against that big wave that's coming, or it's here, to allow your system to work better through it. So I'll put a link here for the waitlist for the next 12-week challenge, so you guys can get on that waitlist. There's a lot of information that's there in the waitlist. So even if you're like, well, I'm not sure I want to do it, hey, get on the waitlist. There's a ton of great content there for you. And like I mentioned, I have my YouTube channel, Dr. Beth Westy. My podcast is called The Female Health Solution. And then if you're curious about the eating for your hormones and your cycle, and you want a resource for that, my book, The Female Fat Solution, this is on Amazon. This is a great resource that talks all about the history of nutrition, how it's set up for women, or how it's set up for women to fail because it's geared towards the male body, all that stuff. So great resource there. But just keep in mind here too. And also, this has nothing to do with breast size overall, right? You can have A cups and still have really fibrous, painful breasts. You can have double Ds and have painful fibrous breasts, or not, right? So this is the thing to keep in mind. Even if you don't have fibrous tissue, you can still have a lot of tenderness, in relation to your cycle and hormones. So, but it is when your tissue gets to be fibrous, right? It's just more rigid. It's more rigid. So when you have that swelling, it can be more tender, especially around hormonal imbalances. Ooh, not fun. Not fun. But again, there's a lot of great things that you can do for this. We talk about some of this in the 12-week challenge, and we talk about some of it, again, on that wait list, which is in the comments. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. Please let me know if you have any questions. Oh, just in reference here, because I talked about nursing, because I have 3 kids. I nursed them. Yeah, that also is no correlation to fibrous tissue or not. If you nursed, if you didn't nurse, if you've had kids, if you've not had kids, no correlation, right, to having fibrous breast tissue. You can have it or not. Again, sometimes you can find information that says, yes, it's correlated to your family history or genetics. Sometimes not, right? Yeah. Sometimes that's the same thing with breast size too. I'm just saying. Like, I I don't have a lot to show here, right? Yet my mom, oh my goodness. And you know what? My grandmother's like, holy cow. I don't know, just seems to have skipped a generation here. Just, you know. But again, so sometimes these things, in terms of it always related to genetics, no. Sometimes it can be, but sometimes it is related to, you know, your environment, what you've been exposed to, stressors that your system has been under, you know. So there's a lot of different factors that do go into this. Yeah. But again, working with your body, working with your hormones, helping level this out is something that can really help this painful, because this can be a really big problem for women. It can hurt to wear certain items of clothing. It can hurt to do certain activities. I totally understand that. Yes. So something to keep in mind, especially right now, because stress makes this a lot worse. All right. That's what I got for you tonight. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm always available as a resource, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you later.